Hair loss is scary. It feels like there's nothing you can do about it. Women at my salon ask me about this all the time, and let me tell you what I tell them. You can reverse hair loss. You can regrow your hair naturally to be the healthiest it's ever been. You just need to go deeper to find the root cause and then apply the right strategy to regrow it. Step 1, establish your hair shed baseline. With hair loss, it's critical that you catch it early. The longer you let it go, the worse it's gonna get, and the last thing you wanna do is have somebody else point it out after it's gotten bad. So how do you catch it early? You establish your hair shed baseline. In other words, how much hair are you currently shedding right now? If you know your baseline, you can easily see if it increases and catch the hair loss early. A certain amount of hair shed is completely normal and healthy. Everyone sheds hair. Old hair has to fall out for new hair to start growing. But what is a normal amount of hair shed? Google will tell you it's between 50 to 100 hairs per day, but just like 99% of hair advice on Google, it's an absolute lie. Do not trust it. The amount of normal hair shed is different for everybody. I've been cleaning my clients' brushes for years, and the amount of hair they each shed is massively different. I have some clients that shed 5 times more hair than others, and believe it or not, those heavy shedders are usually the clients with the thickest hair.
That's right. Some of us shed a little more.
So hair shed in itself is not bad. It's only a sudden increase in hair shed that should get your antennas worried. Or if you're already experiencing hair loss, a decrease in hair shed is a sign that what you're doing is working. So go ahead and take a picture of however much you shed on average right now, and then pay close attention to it, because if that suddenly increases, you are going to need this next part. Step 2, finding the cause. The first thing to understand here is that there's no such thing as general hair loss or general hair loss treatments. That's a fake reality. The way hair loss really works is that there are specific causes of hair loss and specific treatments for that cause. It's your job to match these up correctly so the hair loss is reversed. That means buying random hair loss products from Google searches is not a real strategy. A while back, I had a friend, let's call her Lorelai, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. A few months later, she started losing her hair. She was terrified and said, "I'm gonna be bald soon if I keep losing it like this." I said, "Don't worry, hair loss is a lot like taking care of a baby. When it cries, there's usually a reason, and you just have to figure out that reason so it stops."
Or it's like taking care of you. Is it food? Is it sleep? Just like a baby.
Or ice. And in this case, the reason she was losing hair was just because of postpartum hair loss. During pregnancy, estrogen increases, which is great for hair growth. It gets thick and full, but after pregnancy, estrogen levels drop, which causes the hair to exit the growth phase and start shedding. So I told her this is completely normal and temporary. Your hormones are gonna level back out soon, and your hair will go right back to normal. 6 months later, I ran into her again, and she said, "At first, I didn't really believe you." I go, "But?" She says, "Everything is great. Baby's great, hair is great, I love it. Thank you so much for calming me down." But let's do an alternate timeline where I never met Lorelai during her hair loss.
A multiverse?
Remember when she was saying, "I'm gonna be bald soon if I don't do something about this"? So she starts going online and buying general hair loss products. She says, "I'm gonna try these $80 pills. I'm gonna try this magic growth oil, and I need collagen. And now I need this $500 LED light helmet." And this starts to get really expensive really fast. Anyway, her estrogen bounces back just like it was always going to, and so her hair grows back. Except in this timeline, she's like, "Oh, thank God. These products gave me my hair back. What would I have done without these expensive hair-saving products?" Even though they did absolutely nothing. And what do you think she does next? She tells all of her friends, "You need to buy this, and this. Yes, it's expensive, but it really worked. This stuff is amazing." And you're gonna hear this type of advice in comments and review sections of products, but you have to ignore it.
And you're probably going to hear it in the comments below this video. Still,
ignore those people too. Ignore them. It was coming back anyway. The only way to fix and reverse hair loss is to find and treat the cause. With that being said, let's speed run the causes so you know exactly how to fix them without getting scammed in an alternate timeline. Medical procedures. This is one people never really think about until I remind them, and then they're like, Makes total sense. One of my friends is really athletic and prides herself on staying young and healthy. I ran into her a few weeks ago and she's like, "Can I ask you a personal question?" I'm like, "Sure." She whispers, "Can you tell if my hair is thinning? I don't know what's happening to me, but the past few months I've been losing a bunch of hair and I'm scared." I go, "Didn't you just get knee surgery like a couple months ago?" She's like, "Yeah, I was playing pickleball and turned the wrong way at the wrong time." So I explained to her that anytime you have surgery, it's major stress on your body. It basically goes into emergency mode and shuts down some of your hair production to save resources to repair the injury.
Wish it would shut down my fat production.
I told her, your hair will automatically start growing again. You just need to get plenty of rest and nutritious food and things will go right back to normal on their own. So if this happens to you, please do not waste a single dollar on hair loss products. It will automatically come back. Anxiety. Most people would never guess that stress, anxiety, or depression can have any physical effect on your body, but it absolutely can. Back when we first opened the salon, Leslie's house got hit by a hurricane. I was staying with her at the time, and together we lost pretty much everything except our cars. We only had a place to stay because insurance would put us up in a hotel, but the thing was, they would only approve 2 days at a time. So every 2 days, we had to put everything we owned into trash bags and go to the next hotel.
With 2 cats.
But after a few weeks, insurance tried to stop paying and we didn't know if we were gonna have somewhere to live or not. It was super stressful for Leslie, and after 9 months, it definitely had an effect on Leslie's hair. But the good news is, as soon as we found a place to finally stay, the stress went away and her hair also went right back to normal and life was good again.
The cats were very happy.
The bad news though is there's no hair product that actually gets rid of this stress. So if you're having this problem, don't waste money on products. This happens because stress hormones like cortisol cause your hair follicles to go into an extended resting phase, meaning stunted hair growth. So to get your hair back, all you have to do is eliminate the stress, anxiety, and depression. It's easier said than done, but me and Leslie wish you luck.
Sure do.
Female pattern baldness. So this isn't just a problem in men. It also happens to women, except it shows up differently. Men experience this in the top back with a little ring back here. Everybody's seen that, but in women, it looks different. It's much more spread out across the top of the scalp, especially where you might part your hair and around the temples. So that's what you're looking for with this. If you get this, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just a combination of genetics, hormones, or age, but there are ways that you can fix it. The best solution for this is a medication called minoxidil. It does a couple of different things, like forcing your hair follicles to go back into the growth phase earlier than they normally would, and preventing follicles from shrinking, which makes them produce finer, thinner hairs. And it also reactivates dormant hair follicles so they start producing hair again. Again, the earlier you catch this, the better off you're gonna be. So please get that hair shed baseline so you can see this coming before it gets bad. Nutrient deficiencies. It's important to remember that hair is made in your hair follicles. They're like little factories on your scalp, but they require certain ingredients to produce hair. And if you're missing any of those ingredients, your hair is not gonna grow right. The first ingredient I would check for is low iron. If your iron's low, your hair follicles won't get enough oxygen, which means they decide to stop growing hair. You've also probably heard about biotin. Its job is to help produce keratin, which is literally the protein that your hair is made of. But the thing about biotin deficiency is it's extremely rare if you eat a normal diet.
And if you take a lot of biotin, your hair grows everywhere.
The real key here is to have a decently healthy diet. And by healthy diet, I do not mean eating like a bird. I mean eating real food with real nutrients that your body can use to build hair. Extreme diets and eating disorders will absolutely degrade the strength and thickness of your hair. It's not good for hair. So remember, no food equals no hair. Get yourself those ingredients. Hair loss products are not needed to fix this at all. Medications. Whenever you start a new medication, you want to keep a close eye on hair shed just to make sure it isn't increasing. There's a huge list of medicines that have hair loss as a side effect, but what I really want to make sure of is that what happened to one of my clients doesn't happen to you. This client came into her apartment like, "Chris, the shampoo I'm using is making my hair fall out." So I'm like, "Okay, what shampoo are you using?" She says, "This one." She held it up. And yeah, it wasn't exactly a brand that I would recommend, but it was totally fine. So I told her that shampoo doesn't cause hair loss. And I explained that shampoo wrongly gets blamed for this all the time. People think that just because they see that their hair falls out in the shower, that it must be happening because of something in the shower and that it's the shampoo's fault. But it really doesn't work like that. It's kind of like blaming your mirror for having a bad hair day. And even worse, if you blame the shampoo, you're never going to find out what actually caused the hair loss in the first place. She came in a few months later and said, "Thanks for telling me that it wasn't the shampoo. I finally figured out what was actually doing it." She told me it was actually the new birth control that my doctor put me on, but I switched and now all my hair is back. The moral of the story here is anytime you start a new medication with hair loss as a side effect, keep an eye out for it so you know the cause and have a chance to fix it. Menopause. Sooner or later, menopause is coming for your hair. But if you know what to do, you can prevent it and reverse the hair loss caused by menopause. During menopause, hormone levels change. Estrogen tends to go way down, which sucks because it plays a huge part in growing long, thick hair. This can cause hair thinning and female pattern baldness, and luckily, there's something that you can do about it. Hormone replacement therapy is like, step aside menopause, I'll take it from here. It'll get your hormones back to normal to a much healthier range, and there's a ton of other health benefits like improving your mood, energy, bone density, muscle mass, all things that have a huge positive effect on your health. The only thing is you can't really do this on your own. You need to talk to a doctor about it so they can prescribe it, but a lot of the time you can do that virtually, so it's pretty easy. Undiagnosed medical conditions. Back when we very first opened the salon, I had a client that we'll call Ethel. Ethel always had beautiful hair, but one day she came in and she said, "Chris, I don't know what's going on with my hair. It's brittle and falling out." I go, "Let me take a look," because sometimes you can see it's being caused by scalp irritation or something like that. But I told her, everything looks fine. So she goes, "What should I do then? I bet it's my husband. He's constantly making messes. It's driving me crazy." I go, "Okay, how long has this been going on?" She's like, "For 25 years, Chris. Since the day I met him. He's absolutely impossible."
I know the type.
So I'm like, "Okay, then it's probably not him. Why don't you see a dermatologist that specializes in hair and scalp, and they can run tests to see exactly what's going on."
Yeah, just like you to take his side.
Definitely not a guy doing that.
Definitely not.
Sounds like a girl problem. So she did that, and it turned out that she had a thyroid condition that was weakening her hair and causing her follicles to go dormant. I saw her again about 6 months later, and she's like, "My doctor gave me this medication, and I got all my hair back." So if you have hair loss that can't be explained by any of the other stuff that we've talked about, I would see a doctor and see about getting a blood test. All right, so if you want to show off all that extra hair that you're going to have now, and you need help matching products to your unique hair type, check out my recommended product list. It has a hair quiz that walks you through everything. Have a good one. Good luck, guys.